Hi, my name is Jo Hadley, and this is my podcast, Being a Human Lighthouse. I am a somatic counselor and energy medicine practitioner, but to be the best somatic counselor and energy medicine practitioner, I have to do my own inner work and have to have the highest level of consciousness I can have. I can only hold space for people and their issues to the degree that I've actually looked into my own issues and integrated them and, for want of a better word, healed them and got closer to my own soul and higher self. This path is a frustrating journey inwards, I'll have to say. There are moments of peace and feelings that you have it. I remember many decades ago, even before I consciously knew I was on this path, I had noticed that just when you think you've got it, you don't. And it's been like that for me this week. I remember with a high level consciousness group I meet with on Wednesdays, I was feeling really at peace, feeling like I had actually jumped a level. My friends actually commented that my presence had even increased and I was looking more peaceful. So I was, quite happy with myself, proud of myself that things were heading in the right direction. I was feeling very calm and peaceful. But what I know is that whenever we reach these new levels and we gain this access to peace, that then just opens the door for the next jump to the next level. So we're ready to go back and face whatever is more deeper and darker and held in the recesses of our unconscious and in our energy bodies. And so the very next day, I woke up just feeling off in many ways. I had this anxiety and tension and stress levels and acute stress levels. And I did my best all day to be conscious of them and breathe, but it actually got quite overwhelming at times. And I knew I was not in a good place, so I tried to be as kind and compassionate to myself as I possibly could. But I didn't quite get there. I was at work and I couldn't quite give myself the time and space that I needed. And in hindsight, I will definitely just walk away from this in future. It was really interesting, just the intensity of these feelings. I wasn't even sure what they were about. But I do know, having reached a nice peaceful level the day before and feeling calmer and having done a lot of inner work lately, as I always do, and as this evolution seems to be just exponentially faster every day, every week, every month is getting just jumping levels much quicker. I sometimes can barely keep up with the changes. It's happening so fast. I was astounded at the level of intensity, and I kind of was a bit mean to myself and not very compassionate because I thought I should know better. But I do know I was very conscious during this increase, this old trauma memory, wherever it was coming from. And I realized that the universe has thrown me into some situations and scenarios that are bringing up some patterns from deep from my childhood. I recognize them, I'm conscious of them, and curious that there's still things that need to be healed and examined and integrated. But that's what jumping levels is. As we get more skills, more tools, more higher, we're able to go into these deeper levels. So I know I accessed something quite heavy and dark on Thursday. And once I could get myself home and look after myself, and ever since, I've been really doing a lot of grounding work, and I've sat over the weekend in some parks and just sat on the ground and just really connected to the earth and the four elements and my surroundings and just stayed present. I ensured I went to my mindfulness meditation group and also had some Reiki. All this resourcing to really care for my poor old nervous system that was dealing with some traumas that were coming up. And I can tell they were from the past, something really, really deep. And possibly pre-verbal, because Thursday I had no idea what it was about. I just knew that these sensations were familiar and they were really intense and overwhelming. And so I have sat alone doing my meditation, also in nature, and requesting my higher self help me out with these patterns. And at this point in time, I'm feeling, again, much calmer and much more peaceful. I know there's still something there. I know I'm being challenged at a deeper level. But that's okay. This is what this path is about. But sometimes it just gets tiring. Sometimes I just go, wouldn't it just be nice to stay peaceful and calm just for a few weeks, a month? It just seems to be a roller coaster. It's like I get this feeling of peace, and then I almost can say, wow, I know the coming up is going to be opening up the next door to the next basement that needs to be brought out into the light. So I wanted to just talk about this, about how this path inwards is not an easy one. It feels like a roller coaster. And yes, I get to the inner peace and I jump levels much quicker than I used to. And that's the bonus. But unfortunately, when we're going into these new levels of meeting whatever is coming up, it can sometimes feel as intense as at the beginning when I had no tools or very limited tools. I'm just grateful that I'm conscious of it now and have a lot of tools with which to address this, to try and get my nervous system back into some sense of safety and calm and be compassionate to myself. It's not easy, but I recognize that I'm jumping levels. I am writing a speech for a group that I'm in that I was doing this afternoon that requires me to go in and just look a little bit at my past and just see what's happening. And I'm giving a speech about consciousness and quantum leaps. So I've had to go back and examine a few of the situations and circumstances that have happened that have triggered me. So I'm acutely aware of this pattern again of thinking that you've got everything understood. It's like when you're in a grade at school. You think, well, I've got grade 2 all sorted, but then you go into grade 3 and feel like you know nothing. When you get to the higher levels, you feel like, oh, am I done yet? Even though I know deep down I'm not, because I'm not near Buddha consciousness or Christ consciousness yet. So I know that there's going to be new levels and new classes. I just sometimes get surprised at how swiftly these changes come about. And writing this speech today, I've noticed just in the last 6 years, maybe 8 years, just how fast and how much has changed. And I was identifying where these quantum leaps occurred. And of course, they coincided with increases in consciousness. So it's not easy. But I do see the benefits because when I sit with others who are in a bit of an acute personal crisis and going through their own dark night of the soul, or some issue has come up for them that's become really acute, I recognize I'm so much better at just being a safe, present space for them. And it's interesting just by doing that, by sitting alongside someone and acknowledging their pain, I've seen just how quickly it is transformed in them without me even wanting to try and change anything or needing to change anything, just allowing them to be in their pain, in their issue. And just by sitting with them, giving them a safe space to express themselves, to acknowledge what they're going through, to acknowledge how difficult it is, and to offer to walk alongside them, I've been surprised at how quickly things shift. And that's what I love. I just love how these shifts happen. It's not great being in the middle of this tsunami of unpleasant emotions like I was on Thursday, and sometimes it feels like it's never going to end, even though I know it will. But I love how it changes so swiftly from this intensity to sometimes this peace and inner wisdom comes to the fore just by allowing the nervous system to be seen and feel safe. So I've witnessed both sides for myself this week. In myself, and I didn't have anybody to actually help me out. I remember being in the midst of my super anxious day, and I'm thinking all I wanted was someone to sit with me and just acknowledge the pain and sit with me and be with me. I got people trying to help and give advice, but that doesn't help. And I'm thinking all I need is just someone to sit with me, just to acknowledge, attune with me, and allow my nervous system to feel safe. So I had to go home and do that for myself. And I've been doing that for myself over the weekend. And it's really helped. I can feel the shift. I can feel the difference. So even though sometimes it feels like we're going nowhere, it is like a spiral. We're constantly being retested, but just at a higher level. And I'm grateful for all the changes because having written this speech today or being in the process of writing this speech, I can see these turning points and I can see in hindsight where I was stuck in a pattern or I wasn't quite ready to leave that pattern. It was still helping me. Because until recently, I was assuming, I didn't realize that my mind or my ego was controlling where I was going and what path I was taking in one area of my life. But it wasn't until this recent shift in consciousness where I started listening to David Clements and then my work website disappeared. A few things happened at once that I was going, what is going on now? And I realized that with the website disappearing, I'd been trying to move in a certain direction and only in that direction. And I realized I wasn't 100% trusting the universe to unfold. And this was the universe's way of telling me it wasn't going to let my mind try and stay safe and tiptoe along the path, putting its feet only where it feels safe. It was going to once again rip everything out from underneath me. So that has sort of made me feel a little bit more unsteady and unstable. But I think I'm getting used to this because after the events of July 2024, when just about everything, the big carpet was ripped out underneath my feet, this wasn't such a big ripping out of the carpet, it was more of the rug. And even though it has probably upset me inside a little bit more than even the big rip of the carpet, because even when everything in my life changed, I still had this plan that I was holding on to, this plan I'd formed. Well, I thought it was completely from my heart, but I see now that it was some heart, some mind, and the mind wanted to step by step in a very linear direction, knowing that every step it was taking was safe. So I did have to go on that path, and it is part of my journey, but the universe is making me realize that My mind and my ego are not controlling anything. They're not allowed to stay safe and know what's happening. It brings to mind these quotes from Joseph Campbell. I'll probably just paraphrasing now, but if you're on a path and you see the path, it's not your path. When we're on our own path, we can't see the way ahead. We don't know what's coming. We have to react in the moment to everything that happens. And I was reminded of that and saw really clearly how, in a very sneaky, subtle way, my mind was trying to keep me safe. I had seen that in July 2024 as well. And I've let some go, but clearly I'm still clinging to this pattern. So that has been my big learning of the week. I'm becoming more conscious, and being conscious means it's going to change, but sometimes these patterns can be sneaky, and we have to keep paying attention to what life and the universe is bringing to see, have we really let go of that pattern? Or is it just let go a little bit, but still trying to sneakily control the strings? Maybe the strings are thinner, but it's still trying to hold on to some portion of control. So again, I intend to commit to trusting the universe and going with the flow and not trying to push where I'm going and to let it unfold organically. Once again, I've been reminded and taught that the true path for any of us is to walk into the unknown. Of course, the unknown's scary, and that's why we tend to let the mind come back and help keep us safe. But the unknown doesn't have to be unsafe. It's just unknown, new. So it requires courage, patience, and to keep examining ourselves within to see if we're still holding on to some form of control with the mind. So that's my musings for my own life and my own progress this week. I will do my mini meditation. If you'd like to do that with me, by all means, just either lie or sit down. You can close your eyes if you like. You don't have to. Everything is always optional. If anything becomes overwhelming or intense or too unpleasant, stop. Ground yourself in the present moment with the five senses and just allow yourself to become safe again and back in balance by tuning into the senses. The easiest is just feel the feet on the floor or listen to the sounds that are going on around you, anything that brings you back into the present moment. So I invite you, your eyes closed, and if you like, you can also put your hand over your heart. The heart is the center where we meet our soul and our true self. It's the point in the chakra where the human physical form of us meets our spiritual self. So I just invite you, as if you have your hands on your heart, to breathe in and out, imagining it's going in through the heart center, but every low, slow breath is going in, filling up every cell in your body with light, love, information. So 3 low, slow breaths. And just ask your higher self to be with you in this meditation and reveal whatever wisdom you're required to understand. And now just notice, we just ground into the present moment and ground into the physical plane by noticing where we're sitting or lying, just feeling our body as it's supported can gently move our feet on the floor. If you like, you can imagine there's roots growing from the center of the soles of your feet to the center of the earth, really tying you to the earth plane and all that Gaia and the earth has to offer, which is everything that needs to nourish us and support us in this physical plane. And if you like, you can give thanks and gratitude to Gaia and the earth for supporting us and giving us all the nutrients and physical support that we need, providing the oxygen that we need, the food and water to sustain our bodies, the materials to build our world. Just give thanks. And now bring your attention to the crown of your head and imagine you've got a cord or a rope going from the crown of your head to the center of the universe, to the great singularity or central sun. So you're connecting in to your spiritual self, the part of you that's connected to all that is. And be grateful for the support from all our angels and guides, from our higher self. And from our soul, it gives us the inner wisdom to know what steps to take next, what is best for us. And again, just breathe in and out through the heart center. Now acknowledging the connection to the earth below and the universe and source energy above. And be aware that with every breath in, that breath is filled with energy, information, love, light from a source energy, and it's mixing with every cell in your body. So the spiritual and the physical are connected. And just notice any sensations in your body. You may not notice any, or you may have a lot. Just notice, especially the unpleasant sensations are often just memories or unprocessed emotions from the past. They often just surface when they feel safe enough to be seen. But if they're too overwhelming, just open our eyes and tune back into our five senses. But just know you're safe just sitting here, sitting or lying, tuning in to your connection to the earth and your connection to the universe. Just be aware of the sensations. You're not trying to change them. Just be curious. And just know they're just sensations. They're merely energy. If they're unpleasant, they're merely energy awaiting to change form. If there's anything unpleasant, just ask your higher self or soul or source energy to assist you with transforming it into wisdom or inner peace, compassion or love, whatever you'd like to turn these unpleasant feelings into. Just ask persistence. And again, just turn your attention again to where your hand is on your heart, if it's there. And just breathe in low and slow again, in and out through the heart center. With every breath in, just asking for a deeper and clearer connection to your own higher self. And you can ask your higher self, what is it you need to know? Is there any answer or solution to a problem that you have? You can ask your higher self to help you with that solution, knowing that all solutions have to come from the source, from somewhere higher than where the problem currently resides. And our higher self and source energy have all the answers. So if we can tune in and ask them to assist us, it can be a lovely way to resource the body and also to assist us to integrate the unpleasant emotions and patterns and to feel and attain more inner peace. And if you'd like to ask your higher self if it has any last words or sensations or feelings to give you, just ask your higher self to give you those messages now. And as we start to come back from this mini meditation, just start to wiggle your body, move your feet and hands. You can open your eyes if they were closed, and just tune into how you're feeling. Just notice, do you feel lighter? If you do, lightness usually indicates you've let something go. And just know that over the course of our week or even the course of our day, we can have this sense of peace, and then often that allows the next layer to come up. So if you do, just find things that resource you, that make you feel good, like being out in nature, going for a walk, being around people who are supportive, maybe seeing a therapist, doing a hobby that you like, doing things that really nourish your soul and make you feel at peace can help you when some of the unpleasant things start to arise and need to be integrated and witnessed. So until next week, enjoy your journey along the path. And I'll see you further along the path next week. Bye.